Very good afternoon, everyone. My name is Suhaimi from BEX Asia, well, the leading trade exhibition for the built environment here in Singapore and Southeast Asia, organized by RX Singapore. Thank you for taking the time to attend our second masterclass of 2024. I see that we have quite a number of people joining us, not just from Singapore, but I see people from India, from Indonesia, Philippines, as well as UAE. Apparently, that we also have someone from Switzerland. So I guess it might be really early for you. Thank you for joining us then. Now, ladies and gentlemen, and also to those who are celebrating Hari Raya, let me please wish you a Selamat Hari Raya, Maaf Zahir and Batin. Now, we are excited to have for today's masterclass to be presented by Autodesk on the topic of Embrace the Future, Life Cycle Digital Twins with Autodesk Tandem and BIM Collaborate Pro. With us today, architect Sagar Artorat is an accomplished architectural engineer and BIM technologist with over 14 years of experience in the AEC and product manufacturing industry. His expertise spans material fabrication technologies, bespoke building envelopes, and large-scale mixed-use building projects across APAC, Europe, and the United States of America. Our second speaker, John Rivas, is a solution engineer at Autodesk, focusing on the architecture, engineering, and construction solutions. Before joining Autodesk in 2014, his experience includes roles in engineering, IT, and technical sales. Now, John's main role is advocating the benefits of BIM, building information modeling, and digital project delivery for the Asia-Pacific region. Let's invite both of them to turn on their cameras and say hello to everyone first. Sagar and John, hello both. All right, now, so before we start the session, a few housekeeping announcements. Should you have any questions during the presentations, please use the Q&A functions within Zoom. We shall take these questions at the end of the masterclass. Now, with that housekeeping out of the way, let me hand it over to you, Sagar. Take it away.
All right, thank you. And it's a pleasure to present this together with John and Bex Asia as a partner in digital transformation. So I'm going to share my screen now. All right. So good afternoon to everybody. Most of our part is good afternoon today, whoever is joining from all around Asia Pacific. Myself, Sagar Turat, and John Rivas, together with me. We'll be taking you through on this new journey, which is Tandem for AEC, together with BIM Collaborate Pro, and enabling lifecycle digital twin with these two great technologies. Now, BIM Collaborate Pro, which also was earlier known to be as BIM 360 Design, has evolved and revolutionized the way we collaborate today in the BIM environment. And now we are taking one step forward, or let's say we are leapfrogging into the new world of digital twin, which is a connected BIM-based digital twin that we will enable through the entire life cycle using this technology. Right. So what's a digital twin? Let's try to understand in a very brief way of what exactly it is. So digital twin, as it is understood, is a replica of a built asset that puts all the information about the physical asset at your fingertips, right? And this is bidirectional with the BIM, and it connects, it's a connection between the physical and the digital that enables twins of these processes for operations and behavioral awareness, such as predictive maintenance, so as simulation, and enabling informed decisions to be made in the real world conditions itself. Right. Now, time and again, there has been always a moment where people, or let's say humans, have evolved from their needs, right? Today, how we see as a new data paradigm being evolving, hence the increased value of data today. And we all know how today Google impacts us, or how Microsoft impacts us. In the similar way, BIM and Autodesk will also impact the entire AEC ecosystem. And that is where we will combine your data plus Autodesk technology to enable you with actionable insights. And digital twins will be at the center and at the heart of every business strategy going forward. Now, we all sort of understand this, but many of us also ignore it for a fact that we are industry professionals. We do know for a fact that 95.5%, or let's say anywhere 90% of the data in construction today and engineering goes to waste, right? And this was even more prominent when we were very CAD centric. Today, if we say that the BIM environment has matured up to a level where 50% of the users today are on BIM, we will see lesser and lesser impact of this waste going forward, right? And we have sort of researched and understood that 58% of the owners said that the majority of the benefits of the digital twin would be enabled during the design bid build phase itself, where it kickstarts at the design stage. Hence, in Singapore, we have also moved from IDD to IPD, which enables the FM based workflows to the IDD part itself. So if you sort of today Google the industry transformation roadmap of Singapore, IPD actually is one step forward of IDD, where it enables FM data to be captured at the design stage itself through greater collaboration within the industry. Now, looking at the digital twin maturity cycle itself, where we understand today is that the digital transformation maturity increases and the business value also processes forward as we move from a descriptive twin to an informative twin with IoT integration and then forwarding it into a predictive twin with the AI and machine learning capabilities, and then into comprehensive twins where we are able to come up with what if scenarios and get feedback from the machine learning algorithms and from robotics to be able to facilitate our buildings in a better way. And of course, the ultimate aim, or let's say we would say, I'm not saying that it's infinity, but autonomous twin, where the building is able to operate itself with minimum human intervention, could be a place where we are looking into, where robotics takes us into that leap. But we don't know what that is and where it is. Today, where we are at the descriptive and the informative stage with Tandem and BIM Collaborate Pro, and we are moving into predictive stage as we take one step forward in the future. But it's good to know for people who are new to the concept of digital twin, these are the 5 stages of digital twin maturity. Right. Now, there are tremendous amount of opportunities today throughout the build life cycle, where digital twin and the creation of the BIM itself with a lot of good information and data fidelity will carry it over throughout the entire life cycle as a digital thread, right? The digital thread is the single source of information, which is collaborated between different parties, such as they're able to dictate the further behavior of the digital twin itself and get the most out of the digital twin. Now, the opportunities are not just there, but we are also looking at measurable outcomes for the as-built facilities. We are looking at detecting issues as well as improving through data-driven insights, and we leverage on the knowledge to build better and to make our buildings more sustainable through better operations and reduced carbon throughout the life cycle of the project as well. All right. So the challenges that we have today in the implementation of digital twin is the big gap between the construction process and the operation process, where the digital handover today is sort of in a mundane way, where we are actually handing over maybe just drawings or PDFs, or majority of it is 2D data. And there is a misconception that that data is enabling our FM processes. However, a reliable BIM-based FM process is necessary to accelerate the operational readiness and the realization of these digital twins, right? And connecting our ecosystems where business operations as well as construction operations combine this together to create this digital assets for a better physical operation as well. And ultimately reflecting our changing realities. Now, this is where we understand that buildings are dynamic, spaces are dynamic, and we are looking at a multifunctional building in the future, right? Say, for example, COVID sort of taught us a very major lesson that we are not really bound to be in offices anymore, right? We are mobile. And what if we are mobile? It means that it's going to disrupt some of our existing processes. Like maybe we don't need a lot of office spaces today. Maybe they have to be converted into residential, maybe hospitality, maybe some other means, or maybe a new building matter might evolve in the future. We have to be ready to face these challenges. We will be ready if we are digitally capturing all the information in the correct way. Now, what are the outcomes that our industry expects out of this particular process, right? Through the digital twin process itself. Now, at the collaboration stage, the owners and the architects and the contractors are the creators and the host of the information, right? They are creating these building information models, 2D drawings, asset information, commissioning information, installation information, construction handling information, and finally they are commissioning this over to the facility managers or owners. Now, if this commissioning happens in a BIM-based environment, it is much more transparent, it is much more smoother, and it'll enable new technologies such as space utilization and planning using the AI itself and data analytics, as well as predictive, planned, and on demand maintenance of the as built asset, and ultimately the performance monitoring and the tuning of that performance through the insights that has been gathered through the digital twin itself. Now, Autodesk Tandem has been in evolution over the last 2, 3 years, where we are trying to understand how digital twins can make the most impact, right? And therefore, we need to start right with BIM as the backbone into the process. Now, what we think is that Tandem will have the same impact what Google Maps did for navigation, right? Today, Tandem will be at the heart of the digital twin creation and will enable a smoother handover from the BIM process itself. And that is our outlook, where we are looking at Tandem to enable you through the digital twin technology, which is completely backed on BIM-based processes. Now, twin building and insightful operations are quite entangled together, and that is where we look at tandem, as in the twin and the operations in tandem, and digital twin and BIM as in tandem. So the word you would have already understood what we mean really by tandem, right? The digital and the physical are going hand in hand. Right. So looking at specific workflows with Tandem itself, we initially start by understanding the workflow where we define particular data requirements. Now, this is very crucial that the FM data requirements, the asset information model requirements as part of the ISO 19650 process have to be understood and to be implemented in the exchange information requirements where owners as well as the major consultants would take the key part into the information. Secondly, we all contribute as architects, engineers. We contribute to the models, we contribute to the data through establishing connections. Hence, model-based aggregation of data is quite crucial, and where this information is parallelly being tracked by somebody. Let's say if you're developing your model in a BIM authoring tool like Revit, for example, or you're using any third-party tool and you're using IFC models, Tandem is able to host Revit and IFC models together so that the information can be captured, and at the same time, you can monitor the information right from the design stage itself. We are looking at verification of this information. Now, my colleague John will later take you through in details of these, but verification is a crucial part. And with the use of data analytics, Tandem is boosting a very strong way of sort of monitoring this particular data, as in the completion of your model, as well as completion of your construction and commissioning of your construction can be tracked using the Tandem itself. Now, the transition is the most crucial one, right? When I hand over, right, my own asset, digital asset, or let's say physically created asset to the owner in a digital format, it is sort of an emotional moment, potentially not for the contractor, but for the entire team that has built this particular project, right? And from there, we enable efficient monitoring, right? So here we are defining the data, aggregating and creating the data in the authoring process, validating the information in tandem, handing it over in a smoother manner, and then taking it to the monitoring stage with IoT integration enabled by tandem processes. And later, investigating this information, such as, let's say, airflow, pressure loss, CO2 concentration, right? Amount of air into the system, the amount of time that a person has stayed there, monitoring of lighting system, monitoring of multiple HVAC as well as multiple MEP systems and firefighting systems can also be accessed through the tandem digital twin. And ultimately, gathering all this information and using machine learning algorithms to be able to create proactive actions through predictive maintenance as well with insightful data. Now, this feedback loop between the twin building using BIM and the insightful operations is the fundamental of having a very performance-based facility operations and the facility management data. Right? So summarizing this now, summarizing the overall anatomy of digital twin and the outcomes. Number one, we start with assets, right? We start with streams, we start with systems, we start with spaces, events that dictate our utilization and the usage of the particular space and the behaviors of our systems as well as human behaviors of utility of that space where it gets tracked through IoT devices and you're able to implement this throughout the life cycle. And Tandem enables all these processes where you can access the information, you can visualize the information, have measurable metrics and performance indicators, and ultimately suggest improvements into the process itself. Right? So from here, I would actually hand it over to my colleague, John Rivas, who would take you into a deep dive of Tandem for AEC together with BIM Collaborate Pro. Over to you, John.
Thank you, Sagar. In the next few slides, I'll be discussing the fundamental aspects of Tandem, its role in the digital project delivery, various capabilities, and providing instructions on how to get started with it. The foundation of Autodesk Tandem is based on the Autodesk Common Data Environment, which is Autodesk Construction Cloud. It brings every project team together from design to turnover on a single construction management solution. So it connects BIM workflows and securely collaborate from a single source of truth. By setting up a common data environment, you are able to minimize repetitive tasks and ensure all work and decisions are driven by a consistent data set. This connected environment enables more teams to engage with its data and contribute to its overall process, thereby promoting a reduction of issues and also errors during digital project delivery. Autodesk Construction Cloud is accessible to different stakeholders of the construction project. It has different packages based on the different persona requirements. First comes with Autodesk Docs, which is the main common data environment where it provides the main storage for all project documentation. It is widely used by technical and non-technical teams that are contributors to the project. Up next is Autodesk BIM Collaborate, which is primarily used by BIM managers and coordinators that requires to publish packages and performs coordination reviews like class detections via the cloud. Next one is Autodesk Takeoff, which is a tool used by QS teams where models that are uploaded in Autodesk Docs can be scheduled concurrently as the project model or the BIM model gets updated. We also have Autodesk Build that has workflows for project and construction teams to effectively manage a construction project without the need of printing paper on site. And you can access all this information using a mobile app or just by simply using a web browser. And finally, in BIM Collaborate Pro, which is primarily used for BIM collaboration, is now adding Autodesk Tandem for AEC, which adds digital twin capabilities in its offerings. With Autodesk Tandem now added, it ties the vision of digital project delivery, where it promotes the seamless exchange of project data throughout the different stages of the construction project. To support digital twin during project delivery, Autodesk Tandem builds upon the Autodesk Platform Services, or commonly known as Forge, and it integrates with a various number of applications within Autodesk. This includes Autodesk Docs, which is our file-based common data environment. You can synchronize the data from Autodesk Docs into Tandem, or you can directly import files such as Autodesk Revit, Navisworks, and even IFCs. So we can capture the metadata also from Microsoft Excel. There is also an integration that is being planned by integrating assets from Autodesk Build to support field asset capture during construction. As what Sagar explained earlier on for the digital twin maturity, now why we are adding Autodesk Tandem in BIM Collaborate Pro. So with Autodesk Tandem, it serves as a detailed and informative digital twin that can be regularly updated over the course of a project's progress. So these updates that's being done can be done directly on the BIM model or the model that has been updated on Tandem. So as the project goes to completion, Revit users doesn't need to scramble to collate all the data required by owners, which is a similar process to BCA's initiative on Model Content Requirements, or MCR. By integrating Autodesk Tandem into BIM Collaborate Pro, we aim to minimize rework, enhance users' productivity, and expedite project delivery. So this is achieved by managing the entire project documentation, collaboration, and coordinations directly within the CDE, or that common data environment. So how does asset anatomy in Tandem works? When an asset needs to be populated in Tandem, this information that came from the BIM model are commonly known as what we call as assets. So assets would contain information from the BIM model like classifications and also parameters. When it goes into Autodesk Tandem, parameters can be added to store extensive information such as details about spaces, manufacturer information, installation, and also warranty. Additionally, Tandem can be linked to IoT sensors or devices and CMMS systems, or known as computerized maintenance management systems, for more meaningful and practical use of a digital twin. As you have seen, as what Sagar has explained, how digital twin and insightful operations works, I'm going to dive into the capabilities of Autodesk Tandem. So I'll be focusing not only of its key functionalities, but capabilities like inventory, spaces, asset data, systems, streams, and also dashboards. The first feature that I'll talk about is the filters and inventory. In Tandem, the user interface that you can first notice that on the top left corner is the filter tab. So we have series of filters on the left, and also the BIM model on the right side, which is the user interface itself. So with Autodesk Tandem, it lets you load in multiple models and aggregate it in one single view. So in this particular example, I have multiple Revit files with various disciplines. And the filter feature allows you to toggle these files on and off as and when required. We can also filter on things like systems, categories, and also spaces with a simple click, where you can easily group things into visual clusters. By using filters, you can assign colors easily. That lets you quickly color code information that was uploaded in Autodesk Tandem. Up next are views. Tandem lets you then save those filters that you have created in Tandem as a view, which can be simply restored. And this is very different on how you operate Autodesk Docs, where you typically load an entire model before filtering any information. With the Tandem view, only those information that you would like to load will be shared via that view. So if you share a small amount of equipment, let's say information about the spaces or equipment for this design, it will only load that geometry in that room and also the properties that is associated with it. So it means that when you're using views in Tandem, it's much more easier to load specific views that were preset and saved within with Autodesk Tandem as compared to Docs. Up next are floor plans. So for the owner or operator, there are many scenarios where a 2D floor plan is much more efficient than a 3D view. In Tandem, it dynamically creates a simplified 2D floor plan that better represents the type of information that you would like to see. An example of that is like the Robin application, which is a floor reservation system. Tandem can create a style, which is a 3D view, to look like a Robin 2D floor plan to focus on a use case like a desk reservation system. So with floor plans, technical and non-technical users has the flexibility of viewing a 3D model in Tandem, which is shown in a 2D format. Within Tandem, it also understands spaces, levels, and assets which came from the BIM model. So Tandem is optimized to not only know where all the spaces and levels are, but also what assets belongs to that given space. So Tandem adds additional optimizations to spatial filtering that makes these filters fast when it's loading from a web browser. So when I filter objects within a room, the exact volume calculation is pre-calculated during the conversion of the model for the viewer. Up next is assets data. In a BIM model like assets, information like desks or, for example, mechanical equipment are usually modeled with a graphic placeholder and maybe some lightweight data like manufacturer and performance characteristics. But for the owner or operator, there could be a host of other information that you would like to track for that asset. That would include installation manuals, maintenance history, and etc. So with Tandem, it allows you to create that digital hub to store all this information in one single location. Up next are systems. So MEP systems are a big part of the operations of a building. So connectivity of all various parts of the system is important to understand the effects of an outage or troubleshooting the source of a misperforming equipment. So system tracing adds capabilities to trace and visualize the most relevant elements that is connected in your system. The tracing capabilities not only identifies the route to these critical elements by highlighting the path, but also providing a clear understanding of the path through an animated visualization. So highlighting various critical components along that path with their name on its labels, the system allows easy focus on specific branches via a color code. Additionally, users can pinpoint the location and activate the room that is associated with that specific path. So this gives a clear understanding of the service locations within Tandem. Up next are streams. In Autodesk Tandem, streams are a crucial aspect of its insightful operations, as what Sagar has explained. So they represent the Internet of Things or IoT devices or data connections that feeds into that digital twin. Streams in Autodesk Tandem are used to manage, organize, receive, or store time series data from various sensors within your digital twin facility. So this data can be from a live building that includes details from spaces, manufacturers, installation, warranty information, and a whole lot more. So when data is sent to stream, it undergoes a process before it finally lands inside of Tandem. By receiving and storing this time series data, streams in Tandem allows users to monitor their facility with informed insights. So they are created and classified and deleted just like normal elements in a Tandem database. So these streams can be connected to live data, providing an in-depth understanding of the building's life cycle. So they help to create a dynamic digital replica of your building, offering actionable insights at your fingertips. So in essence, by establishing these connections to live data streams and effectively managing time series sensor data, Autodesk Tandem allows users to analyze data and make informed, more data-driven decisions to improve your facility operations. Up next are heat maps. So with heat maps, it allows you to display data from IoT devices in a live building. As you may have known, we have done this kind of research before called Project Dasher that you might have heard or signed up for a beta application before. And you might have seen an extension to the Autodesk viewer called Hyperion. So that same kind of technology is built into Tandem and allows for rich visualization of the IoT sensor data. So with Tandem, it uses time series database to store all of its data. So it's specifically designed for fast capture and analysis of IoT data. The next feature that I want to talk about are dashboards. So dashboards in Autodesk Tandem is a very powerful feature that provides an overview of the progress of the digital twin creation. They offer visual context to the 3D replica with charts, graphs, or also metrics. So these dashboards are designed to make it easier to track what data is complete, and it helps to identify missing information for your digital twin so that it can be compiled faster. So they provide an overview of the completeness of asset data within the descriptive digital twin. So dashboards are an essential tool for monitoring and managing the digital twin creation process. So it makes it an integral part of the Tandem's capabilities. So in addition to providing insights into the progress of the digital twin creation, they also enable Autodesk Tandem to transform the built asset lifecycle by harnessing BIM information models or BIM data throughout the project lifecycle. In this image, here is an example of that use case that I've mentioned before and also what Sagar has explained earlier on as well. So this graph that has been shown, or in a way, dashboards that has been shown inside of Tandem is like a model property checker. So the questions that you can answer are simply by checking if there are empty fields in my Revit data. Will there be any missing equipment fields or information? Is the date of the equipment installation are missing? Those kind of properties is something that you could check using the dashboards inside of Tandem. That's why during the development of that model, you can already start establishing that digital twin so that in the event that you're trying to update that model before handover, you can see all the information that might be missing on your digital twin model. So you can use these dashboards to produce a report of missing equipment data, which is a useful checker meant for handoff for owners and also operators. So all the data that contributes within Autodesk Tandem are stored and can be viewed within its history panel. Similar to Docs, when you open a panel, you can see the list of events that actually shows the recent or most up-to-date version of that history inside of Tandem. With the history features inside of Tandem, you can track its updates and changes that is made on the digital twin. As what Sagar has explained, Tandem has been around for almost 2 and 3 years, and we're still very excited on the capabilities of Tandem in the near future. So what have you seen so far are the key capabilities of Tandem, but it's not limited to those what I've presented here today. And its main intent is to achieve better outcomes during the handover stage of the project. So once a digital twin is complete, or an ownership needs to be transferred to the owners, such as if there are users that will be switching roles, or a facility needs to be transferred between companies. So this transfer of information can be transferred using a facility transfer wizard within Autodesk Tandem. So now you have briefly understood what our digital twins are, what Autodesk platform offerings that we have for digital twin. So how can you get started? Starting with Tandem comes in 3 options. The good news is that you can use Tandem for free, right? It is free for the first 1,000 assets. There is also an option using a subscription based on the number of assets and streams that you would like to host in your digital twin platform. And the other option is Tandem for AEC, which is also included in BIM Collaborate Pro, where you can create unlimited facilities, assets, and also streams. So within BIM Collaborate Pro, it now adds Tandem for AEC. So this also adds streams where you could have a 14 days time history retention in the Tandem dashboard. So we keep talking about assets inside of Tandem, and this is one of the main key matrices on how to check whether what type of option that you would like to go for with Tandem. So there are 2 matrices. So those primary matrices for consideration would be, one is asset, or what we call as tag assets. So these are valuable components of your digital twin, encompassing elements like doors, equipment, light bulbs, and also, for example, chillers and spaces such as rooms. So an element within the digital twin is designated as a tag asset. So when it is enhanced, when I say enhanced, you're adding custom metadata outside of that BIM model. So that is considered as a tag asset. So that information that you store within Tandem is stored within the database via the cloud. So when you upload a model which is in BIM and you haven't tagged an asset, so you can actually use Tandem for visualizing information. So the next one are streams. So it represents data and also readings, such as temperature or humidity, which is obtained from a physical device or a sensor. So these readings, like temperature and humidity, are recorded at regular intervals and is stored for a predetermined retention period, depending on the type of option that you have gone through. And then Tandem calculates trends based on the available historical sensor data that is stored within its database. So now you have understood what digital twins are, what is the Tandem is all about, and what type of options that you can go for Tandem. Now what is next, right? So as me and Sagar has explained, Tandem has been around for almost like 3 years now. And the next step for Tandem is to integrate and share its data to third-party systems. So we have launched a beta program right now, which is Autodesk Tandem Connect. So now it is being introduced as a program to connect your digital twin platform to maintenance management, control systems, space management, utilization management, and other ERP systems. So Tandem Connect empowers users to effortlessly link Tandem with a vast array of technologies and systems through a user-friendly low-code platform like ACC Connect and also Power BI, right? So it makes digital twin creation accessible and repeatable for all. So some of its examples of integration are with Maximo, CityWorks, Robin, and a whole lot more. So with the limited time that we have currently for this webinar, I'll just walk you through about 2 case studies that has implemented and used Autodesk Tandem. So the first case study is the recent Autodesk University Pavilion, where we have used Autodesk Tandem to monitor heat map of people traffic. So heat maps provide a visual representation of data that makes it easy to understand complex data sets and determine patterns. So in this case, the heat map was used to help visualize the density of people traffic. So by monitoring people traffic, you can help maintain security and safety by identifying overcrowded areas in real time and also allowing for immediate response in terms of there's safety requirements are needed. Another use case of one of our customers, which is Multiconsult, where they have established their digital twin services on Autodesk Tandem. So they have used their own classification system within Tandem to classify HVAC systems and also its assets. So product data sheets from the FM system. So there's a different FM system that is linked through Tandem using APIs for asset maintenance. Another integration that was done through its APIs is the real-time sensor data from a BMS system, like CO2, humidity, occupancy. These information are linked directly to its assets as well. So with Autodesk Tandem, it enables the creation of digital twins that provide a comprehensive and data-rich model of a physical asset. So with Tandem, it allows for seamless integration of data from numerous sources, including IoT devices and sensors. For owners and operators, Tandem can be used to identify opportunities for energy efficiency and help reduce the environmental impact of buildings and their infrastructure. By creating a digital twin and integrating data, so Tandem provides actionable insights that can perform or inform decision-making and optimize your building operations and optimize or enhance your asset performance. So Tandem allows for improved collaboration between architects, engineers, contractors, and also for building owners. So with everyone having access to the same data, so this could lead in fewer errors, reducing rework, and faster project delivery and handover. So before I wrap up my portion for this webinar, so let me just share with you some guides and additional references to help you get started. So getting started with Tandem, what we have here is the link where you can begin your Autodesk Tandem journey by watching this 4-part video series. So these videos provides essential knowledge and guidance on how to kickstart your experience and learn Tandem's capabilities step by step. Another link that we have here is the IDD Readiness Assessment. So this is a tool provided by Autodesk that helps construction professionals to evaluate their organization readiness for integrated digital delivery. So it assesses various aspects such as technology adoption, collaboration practices, and also data management. The last link that I have here is the Solution Advisor tool. So this one is a resource also provided by Autodesk to guide users in their adoption and implementation of Autodesk solutions. So it provides step-by-step guidance, best practices, and resources to help organizations leverage on technology much more effectively. So all these resources will be valuable references for you for further exploration, and it helps you to understand better workflows for digital delivery and construction. So this marks the end of my presentation, and I hope you got excited and learned new insightful information from what I and also Sagar has presented here today. So I'll hand it over back to Sohaimi for the question and answers.
All right. Thank you very much, John and Saga. And I think there has been a fair bit of questions coming in from the Q&A. So for those of you who might want to click on the Q&A, you could see that Saga has answered a number of questions. So do take a look at it. Make sure that if you have a similar question, check whether it has been answered. During your registrations, we also ask you if you have any questions that you would like to raise, and I have them in my hand. So let me just throw out a couple of questions here, both to Sagar and to John. I think let's start with John first. John, you mentioned a little bit about its integration between Tandem and other third-party software. So what is the potential workflow workarounds between Tandem and Maximo, for example?
Yeah, as I've explained, we have this integration with Maximo through Tandem Connect. So this is currently in its beta program right now. So if you wish to integrate Tandem with Maximo and other CMMS systems out there, you can utilize Tandem Connect for that. Although this is not officially launched yet, it's still beta. So we're collecting feedback from customers who are testing these integrations as well.
Right. So if you are using Maximo, then I guess you can be one of the first few to try, and then your inputs will definitely be used to improve that Tandem Connect. Yeah. Okay, another question that we have here, it would be, how does the BIM model integrate with the building management system? Perhaps Sagar or John would like to take that question?
Yeah, so in terms of the building management system itself, the connect would have to be developed through a middleware, and that will go into the integration with Tandem. And that is where, when you have the building information model, let's say, for example, you're using Revit, and the connecting piece over there is your design collaboration and the model coordination through BIM Collaborate Pro. But Tandem is pulling the information from the construction cloud environment. Now, the middleware will have to connect with the BMS systems that are very traditionally used with SCADA packages and so on. So you'd have to have a middleware integration with some specialists to do so.
Right. So it's not impossible. You just need to put in a bit of effort in building up that middleware. Okay. Now, this is a very interesting question, which I think it also will gel very well with one of the conference topics in IBEW, which is with regards to monitoring the use of existing buildings. How does the tools that you've shared here enable life cycle assessment and environmental impact monitoring of buildings?
So, okay, so the way it will be able to monitor is, again, depends on, let's say, your parameters or the properties that you would add as part of your building information model. Let's say if the embodied carbon coefficient is a property that you have added and mandated as part of your classification system, that becomes a host in Tandem, and then Tandem is able to track the total amount of kg per CO2 for the particular asset, right? Now, secondly, when you're monitoring these systems, there will be a CO2 monitor for every space. So Tandem IoT Connect is able to connect directly with the room itself, where the sensors are going to capture the building performance data and track the carbon that is going within those operational systems. So Tandem is able to track that through sensors, through IoT integration. So there are two ways. One is, of course, you have the data captured in your model or in your digital twin in Tandem. And secondly, is the data that you receive during operations as part of your functioning building that gets tracked as the time history for CO2 concentration.
Right. So this means, for example, using Tandem, you can, let's say you're tracking both your chiller plants as well as your electricity usage. You can use it all, track it all through a single software instead of I have one for my chiller plant and I have to refer another one for my electrical consumption for, say, my lights and all.
Correct. Yes,
Uh,
you'll be able to have these IoT linkages for every asset and connect them back to your BMS system through middleware. And the
mhm.
IoT tracker itself will give you the time history data and maintain it within Tandem.
Right. So no need to do this manually and add up all your calculations. All right. Coming into related, this is someone who has asked here, he would like to understand a little bit more about how Tandem can help in the MEP side of the building.
John, you may
Perhaps,
want to.
yeah, I'll take it up. Yeah, within Tandem, once you have developed a BIM model and it contains all the equipments that you need to for your digital twin, first thing is that you can populate its information. And once you have uploaded it in Tandem, you can start providing specific set of information that is related to that MEP equipment. So it could be installation manuals, checklist forms, so that when you operate the facility or the building, you can easily pull this information out within Tandem. You can use this for, like, for example, for facility technicians or building administrators to pull information directly from Tandem. And this could be used for them to track of where are the, let's say, my mechanical pump or where is my chiller is at. So you can use it for making sure to see whether that asset is actually at that particular site. So you have your BIM model, which is a digital twin of your physical asset. Then once you go on site on the physical item itself, you can understand whether that asset is actually at that particular location, and you can start pulling that information. One of the things that I've shared is that we also have heat maps and also MEP systems built inside of Tandem, where you can understand the connection of your ducts or, for example, your pipes. So you can use it to trace if a duct would connect to a specific equipment in the event that there is a malfunction of the building. Like, for example, there's a the portion of that building is a bit hot, right? And if, let's say, you're trying to trace of what equipment needs to be troubleshooted, then you can visualize all this information within Tandem.
Right. I think that will be very useful instead of having to go and check every single equipment on it physically, right? You can just look at it at the core interdependencies between the various subsystems through Tandem itself.
Yes.
Right. Now, here's a question. I think we have been talking about, if you are building, you're designing a new building from scratch, you have your BIMs, you design a building from ground up. Using BIM technologies, you can integrate this. But we all have a lot of existing buildings, right? We in our urban cities now. How can existing buildings adopt digital twin technologies to improve their current building operations?
So there are two ways, and of course, John can add after this. Is one is if there is a digital asset already available of that building, right? And it was created, let's say, 10 years ago when BIM was still there. You could potentially reuse that model to actually build your twin within Tandem itself, right? And then you go into your IoT as well and so on. The retrofitting captures can also be done through that. But potentially, if there is no real capture done before, there's no building information model, a 20, 30-year-old building, in such cases, one standard way of doing this would be, okay, hire somebody to do the model using 2D drawings and get accurate measurements. And secondly, there are technologies today which actually digitally capture the scan. We are using your LiDAR scanning data, which is handheld scanners, or maybe you use one of those Boston Dynamic robots to go through the building and scan the entire building and automatically convert it to a mesh model. Now, the mesh model is able to, let's say, technologies which create these mesh models are able to directly connect within Tandem as well through our API extensions. And these mesh models then again can be converted to BIM models if required. If not, then the data that is captured with the as-built information can be integrated. So there are multiple ways that retrofitted buildings or existing buildings can use. But of course, it's important that you capture the data in a certain way first. John, you might want to add
Yeah,
as
yeah, just add on. Since you mentioned about data, if there's no BIM model of an existing building, you can use information from Excel. So there's an inventory that you can just simply connect Tandem with, so that you can use it as information to trace. So you can still store that data within Tandem, and you can connect information, create hyperlinks or PDF forms that is associated to that existing building. We also are also investing on tools that allows you, as what Sagar stated also, when you want to do a laser scan or a capture of an existing building, we're investing in technologies to help you convert 3D models from scanned images. So perhaps in our next upcoming webinars, we're going to talk about more that in detail. But this is an exciting time for Autodesk as well, for some of these real life issues that the construction industry is facing. So we're developing new capabilities to support that as well.
Right. I'm actually also really looking forward to hearing more from Autodesk in the future, because in our upcoming International Built Environment Week conference, we do actually have a session which will talk about how do we make older buildings, retrofit them to be greener, and definitely one of these kind of tools where even if you don't have a BIM model from your old building, using photogrammetry, you can capture, using LiDAR scanning, create a new digital model, and then with that integrate it into the current tools that perhaps Autodesk Tandem to be able to help you manage your buildings better. Now, I'm conscious of time. We actually have 2 more minutes. So let me just, and that's actually just a question here on, has there been actual use case of using scan mesh model to Tandem? And I see John is typing out an answer, so we can look at the Q&A. But let me just take one last question from those people who have sent the questions ahead. How does AI play a part in the Autodesk BIM collaboration? I think there's a hot topic. Everyone's still talking about AI these days. What is Autodesk doing in this space? Saga, yep.
sorry,
So
in terms of the AI integration itself, we have data analytics capabilities within our Autodesk Construction Cloud, as well as the Tandem itself is able to integrate with generative AI and enable some large language model integrations, because our Autodesk platform services, which is open API, you can also find our current trial APIs for generative AI on our Autodesk Platform Services website. And you should be able to download some sample data from GitHub to test these out, especially on Autodesk Construction Cloud using our insights in Autodesk Construction Cloud. And secondly, in Tandem itself, the data analytics module allows you to integrate certain APIs. But again, it would depend upon, let's say, the capability that the user wants to implement, the use case and the outcome that is expected, and our open API will support that integration. So we do enable those kind of APIs as well.
That's good. I think having open APIs is really one way to work with, not just rely on Autodesk, but there may be other guys who are doing something out there. You can lean on their own developments and technologies.
Actually, talking about APS, APS was previously known as Forge. Also, a lot of apps and companies out there have actually used Forge in the past to develop their own platform, develop their own plugins and extensions on top of it. So APS is just next level of data exchange and allows the new tech to go in, like Tile GPT and Chat GPT and so on, which with large language model integrations.
That's great. So really exciting times ahead in terms of developments for digital twin that Autodesk is pushing forward. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all the time that we have today. Thank you very much for joining us. And also, let me extend my great thanks to John as well as Saga for sharing their insights with us. Before we let them go, any last words from John and Saga for the audience?
just like to thank everyone who participated here today. So looking forward to meet you guys in person.
Yeah,
Hey,
right.
thank you very much, and see you somewhere around. We can always keep meeting IBAWs or any workshops If anybody wants to directly connect and have some sessions in our Autodesk office, we are very welcome to conduct those as well. Please stay in touch. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we will look forward to meeting all of you again in the next masterclass session, as well as at International Built Environment Week and BEX Asia, which will be happening from the 4th to 6th of September. In the meantime, if you have any further questions or you want to find out more about Autodesk Tandem, please scan the QR code on the screen right now, and you will be led to a website with more information. So we'll see you again. Take care and have a great remainder of the week ahead. Thank you.